Hello everyone, welcome to today's story. Dark clouds gathered across the sky, heavy with rain and thunder. The once quiet village was now filled with chaos. Wind howled through the trees, tearing roofs apart and shattering windows. People ran in panic, carrying what little they could, but the storm showed no mercy. Inside a small wooden house at the edge of the field, Lytuna clutched Henry tightly in her arms. The boy cried in fear as the walls rattled and the ceiling groaned under the storm's fury. "Mom, I'm scared," he sobbed, burying his face against her chest. Lytuna whispered softly, trying to stay strong even as her own tears threatened to fall. "It's okay, Henry. I'm here. I won't let go of you." But then, with a deafening crash, part of the roof tore away. Rain poured inside, drenching everything. Lytuna knew if the storm grew any stronger, their fragile home would not survive. Before we begin, don't forget to subscribe and help us reach 10,000 followers. Your support means everything. At the city office, Alex had just ended a long meeting when the storm warnings cut across the television. The anchor's voice trembled as she reported collapsing houses, rising floods, and entire villages swallowed by the wind. Then he saw it, the name of Lytuna's village flashing on the screen. His blood ran cold. He immediately dialed her number. Once, twice, 3 times. No answer. Each second of silence weighed on him like iron. He pictured Lytuna clutching Henry inside that fragile wooden house, the roof rattling above their heads. His pulse quickened. He couldn't sit still, not when the 2 people who meant everything to him were in danger. Without a second thought, he grabbed his keys, but halfway down the highway, fallen trees blocked the road. The storm raged mercilessly. Rain hammered against his windshield until he could see nothing. Cursing under his breath, Alex abandoned the car and plunged into the storm on foot. The wind was a monster. It tore at his clothes, slammed branches into his path, and shoved him backward with every step. His shoes sank deep into mud, and water rose past his ankles, but nothing could stop him. Every ounce of strength, every heartbeat screamed the same word: Lytuna. Henry. Lightning split the sky, illuminating the ruined village. Roofs had caved in, walls splintered, water sweeping through the streets like a raging river. Alex staggered forward, shouting with all his might, "Lytuna, Henry!" The storm devoured his voice. He stumbled, his palms scraping against wet stones, but he pushed up again. He could not fail, not now. Then, through the curtain of rain, he saw them. Lytuna, drenched and trembling, clutching Henry in her arms. She tried to shield the boy with her own body, her face pale but defiant against the wind. Relief surged through Alex's chest, mixed with terror at the sight of the collapsing house behind her. He ran, calling out, "Lytuna! Henry!" She turned, shock and tears in her eyes. "Alex, you can't be here. It's too dangerous." But Alex only wrapped his arms around them, pulling them into his chest as debris whirled past. "I'll never leave you. Not now. Not ever." Above them, the house gave a final groan. The roof beams cracked, threatening to fall. Alex gritted his teeth, tightening his hold. "We have to move. Now." The walls groaned louder, and the ground beneath their feet shook as if the earth itself was trembling. Lytuna clutched Henry tightly while Alex shielded them with his body. Every instinct screamed they had only seconds before the fragile house collapsed completely. "Hold on to me," Alex commanded, his voice sharp but steady. He grabbed Tuna's wrist, then lifted Henry into his arms. The boy's terrified cries pierced through the roar of the storm. "Daddy, I'm scared." Alex pressed Henry against his chest. "Don't worry, Henry, I've got you." His voice cracked, but his resolve did not. He pushed forward, kicking the door open just as the ceiling gave way with a deafening crash. Wooden beams smashed onto the floor behind them, a fraction of a second from crushing them all. Outside, the storm was no kinder. The yard was flooded, water rushing past their knees, carrying broken branches and shards of wood. Alex staggered but forced himself forward, each step a battle against the relentless current. Tuna clung to his arm, her eyes wide with fear. "Alex, the water's rising. We'll never make it," she cried. "We will," he said through gritted teeth. "I won't let this storm take you from me." Lightning tore across the sky, illuminating the village swallowed in chaos. Screams echoed from distant homes, but all Alex could focus on was the fragile life he held in his arms and the woman struggling beside him. Suddenly, a massive branch crashed down in front of them, blocking the path. The water surged higher, threatening to sweep Henry away. Alex tightened his hold, his muscles straining with desperation. He couldn't fail, not when everything he loved was here in his grasp. "Tuna, climb onto that wall," he shouted, pointing to the remains of a stone fence nearby. She hesitated, soaked and trembling, but Alex's fierce eyes gave her strength. Together, they scrambled up, the water swirling violently below. Henry sobbed against his chest. Alex kissed the boy's damp hair. "You're safe, I promise." But deep down, fear gnawed at him. Promises were fragile in the face of nature's fury. As they caught their breath, another gust ripped through the air. The last standing wall of Tuna's home shuddered, then collapsed entirely, sending a wave of water and debris crashing toward them. Tuna screamed, clutching Alex's arm. Alex shifted, shielding both of them, but the force knocked him back. He nearly lost his footing, Henry slipping from his grasp. His heart lurched. With a roar, Alex lunged forward, catching the boy just before the current could claim him. His arms burned with effort, his chest heaving. Tuna's tears mixed with the rain. "Alex, you'll die if you keep fighting like this." But Alex only shook his head, holding Henry tight, refusing to yield. "Better me than either of you. I'll fight until my last breath." The storm raged on, testing every ounce of their will. But amid the chaos, one truth shone clear. Alex's love was stronger than the storm itself. The storm showed no mercy. The sky rumbled with endless thunder. The rain fell like 1,000 daggers, and the ground was already a river, swallowing everything in its path. Alex, Tuna, and Henry clung desperately to the broken stone wall, their only shield against the raging water. But the wall shuddered. Each violent gust threatened to rip it apart, leaving them with nothing to hold on to. Tuna's lips trembled as she looked around. Their home was gone, reduced to splinters carried away by the current. Neighbors' houses were collapsing one by one. The village had become a battlefield between man and nature. Henry's small voice broke through the chaos, muffled against Alex's soaked shirt. "Daddy, I'm cold. I'm scared." His words were fragile, yet they pierced Alex's heart more deeply than the storm's roar. Alex pulled the boy closer, wrapping his arms tighter as though sheer will could shield him from everything. Tuna gripped Alex's sleeve, her eyes filled with despair. "Alex, if we stay here, we'll die. But if we move, the water will take us." Her voice cracked. She was torn between paralyzing fear and the desperate instinct to protect her son. Alex's mind raced. Every option seemed impossible, every path deadly, but surrender was never in his nature. He studied the landscape through sheets of rain. Not far away, he spotted the tall structure of an old granary, its foundation stronger than the fragile homes. If they could make it there, they might survive. "Tuna, listen to me," Alex shouted over the storm. "That granary, it's solid. If we reach it, we'll be safe." Her eyes widened. The granary stood across a field already covered in waist-high water, with debris swirling like knives. To reach it meant stepping directly into the storm's wrath. "Are you mad? We'll never—" Tuna's words cut off as another crash shook the ground. The stone wall beneath them cracked. A jagged line ran through it, and pieces began to crumble. Alex made the decision in an instant. "We don't have a choice. Hold on to me. I'll carry Henry. You stay close. Don't let go, no matter what." Before Tuna could protest, the wall gave way. The three of them plunged into the rushing water. Tuna gasped, her hands clawing for something, anything. But Alex's arm shot out, grabbing her firmly. With the other arm, he held Henry above the current, straining with every ounce of his strength. The current dragged them mercilessly, slamming Alex against floating debris, cutting his arms and legs. Pain seared through him, but he ignored it. His entire being focused on one mission: keep Tuna and Henry alive. "Alex!" Tuna screamed as a massive log rushed toward them. He twisted his body, taking the blow on his shoulder. The agony almost blinded him, but he kept going. Step by agonizing step, he pushed forward, his muscles burning, lungs screaming for air. The granary loomed closer, but the current pulled harder, as though the storm itself refused to let them go. Finally, Alex spotted a rope tied to a fence post near the granary, thrashing wildly in the wind. Salvation. "Tuna, grab it," he shouted. She reached out, her fingers slipping once, twice, then closing around the rope. She wrapped it around her wrist, holding on with desperate strength. Alex shoved Henry into her arms. "Hold him tight, don't let go." But the current surged again, yanking Alex backward. For a terrifying moment, he felt himself slipping away, the storm determined to drag him under. Tuna screamed, stretching out her free hand. "Alex, no." He looked at her, her soaked hair plastered to her face, her eyes burning with fear and love, and at Henry's tiny arms reaching for him. That sight lit a fire in him, stronger than any storm. With a roar, Alex kicked against the current, grabbed the rope, and hauled himself toward them. Together they clung to the granary's foundation, battered and bleeding, but alive. The storm still raged, but Alex had proven one truth. His love and determination were stronger than the fury of nature itself. When dawn finally broke, the storm was gone, but what it left behind was devastation. The once lively village was now a shattered landscape. Roofs torn away, trees uprooted, the earth drowned in mud. Silence replaced the chaos, a silence heavy with grief. Inside the old granary, Alex leaned wearily against the cold wall. His body ached, his clothes clung to him in tatters, and every breath felt like fire in his lungs. Yet his arms still encircled Lytuna and Henry, as if letting go might summon the storm back. Lytuna looked at him, her eyes swollen from tears. "You nearly died last night. Why would you risk everything?" Alex's lips curled into a faint, exhausted smile. He reached for her hand, gripping it tightly. "Because without you and Henry, nothing else matters. You are my family, my reason to fight." Henry stirred in Lytuna's lap, his small voice trembling but steady. "Daddy, you didn't let me go." Alex pulled him close, pressing a kiss to his damp hair. "Never, Henry. Not in this life." Around them, villagers emerged from their shelters. Some wept over what was lost, others clung to each other in relief. It was a picture of pain, but also of survival. Neighbors began helping one another, clearing debris, searching for hope among ruins. Lytuna leaned her head against Alex's shoulder, her heart beating faster not from fear, but from love. The storm had destroyed their house, but it had also proven Alex's devotion. "We'll rebuild," she whispered softly. "Even if we have nothing left, as long as we're together, it's enough." Alex wrapped his arms around both mother and child, gazing at the broken world outside with quiet determination. "Then we will rebuild, stronger, safer. This storm can take our walls, but not our love." The first rays of sunlight pierced through the torn clouds, painting the muddy ground with golden light. For the first time since the storm began, Lytuna felt warmth again. Amid the wreckage lay a fragile but undeniable truth. Love had endured, and so long as they stood together, nothing could destroy them.
Một cơn bão dữ dội ập đến, ngôi làng cuốn bay nhà cửa và đi dọn mạng sống của Lytuna và Bỉ Henry. Nhờ chút lửa nghi nan, Alex bất chấp nguy hiểm lao vào cơn bão tìm họ. Anh vượt qua cơn lũ, mảnh gỗ gió dữ đến bên Lytuna, kịp thời ôm chặt cả hai trước khi căn nhà sụp đổ. Ba người cùng vật lộn giữa con nước xiết. Alex kiệt sức nhưng vẫn quyết giữ Henry và nắm chặt tay Lytuna. Ngôi làng ngập trong hỗn loạn bám trụ và kho lúa kiên cố thóc chết trong gang tấc sau cơn bão. Tất cả chỉ còn lại đổ nát, nhưng tình yêu và sự kiên định giúp họ và mất mát có thể xây lại miễn là còn nhau.